Have you ever wondered if everything you think you know about reality is just a tiny fraction of what actually exists? What if I told you that you have the ability to access a level of perception where the invisible becomes visible? Today, we'll take you on a journey to discover how you can think in 4 dimensions and unlock a whole new view of the universe. This is not just a theory, it is an experience that will change the way you relate to the world and to yourself. Stay with us until the end of this video, as you will have the tools to expand your consciousness and open a door into the unknown. To understand how to think in 4 dimensions, we must first review the 3 dimensions that we know and experience daily: height, width, and depth. These are the basic coordinates with which we define our physical environment. Everything we see, touch, and use is contained within this 3-dimensional framework. Imagine, for example, a cube. This object has 3 clear dimensions: a height that defines it from top to bottom, a width that extends it from side to side, and a depth that takes it to the front and back. Most people live their entire lives interpreting reality solely through these 3 dimensions, believing that the visible world is all that exists. But is this really the case? This is where the idea of the 4th dimension comes into play. We are not just talking about an additional physical extension. The 4th dimension transcends what we can measure or perceive with our senses. It is a frame of reference that includes time, but also goes beyond it. Imagine for a moment that time is not linear, as we usually think, but that all past, present, and future events coexist in an infinite now. Thinking in 4 dimensions implies perceiving this simultaneity, this unbreakable connection between everything that exists. In spiritual terms, it is like removing the veil that separates the visible from the invisible, the physical from the energetic, and realizing that everything is intrinsically united. From a more practical point of view, starting to think in 4 dimensions means questioning the way we observe reality. For example, if we look at a sheet of paper in 2 dimensions, we might think that it is just a flat space. But by adding a 3rd dimension, we discover that it has thickness. Similarly, the 4th dimension reveals that the reality we perceive is not flat or static, but dynamic, multidimensional, and often hidden in plain sight. In the process of self-discovery, this shift in perspective is transformative. Not only does it expand the way you see the world, but it redefines who you are within it. By understanding that you are not separate from the universe, but are an extension of it, you can access deeper levels of consciousness. This has direct implications for how you interpret your experiences, emotions, and relationships. When you realize that there are more dimensions operating in your life, you begin to perceive patterns and connections that previously went unnoticed. For example, the decisions you make no longer seem random. You can feel how every choice has an impact on the universal fabric around you. It is important to clarify that thinking in 4 dimensions does not mean abandoning the 3 known dimensions, but integrating them into a broader framework. You are still a physical being, but now you understand that you are also energy, consciousness, and unlimited potential. This knowledge invites you to explore who you are beyond your self-imposed limitations. Let's reflect for a moment. If everything you think you know about yourself and about reality is only a part of a greater whole, what could be waiting for you to discover it? Thinking in 4 dimensions is not just an intellectual exercise, it's a practice that transforms how you experience life. In the rest of this video, we'll explore how to apply this concept in your daily life, from practical techniques to expand your perception, to ways to use this new perspective to live more fully and purposefully. Because, in the end, it is not just about seeing more, but about being more. Are you ready to take this leap? Continue. The connection between science and spirituality is deeper than we usually imagine. As we go through exploring the concept of the 4th dimension, we discover that both theoretical physics and spiritual traditions point to the existence of realities beyond the visible. This convergence between 2 seemingly opposing worlds not only validates the theme, but also enriches it with different perspectives. In the realm of science, especially theoretical physics, additional dimensions are more than a hypothesis. Scientists have postulated that the universe is not limited to the three spatial dimensions that we experience daily. According to string theory, for example, there are at least 10 or 11 dimensions, many of which are coiled or hidden in such a small space that we cannot perceive them directly. These dimensions are not only fundamental to understanding complex physical phenomena, but they also invite us to question our limited perception of reality. Imagine that you are a two-dimensional being living on a piece of paper. You can only move forward, backward, left, and right, but you have no idea that there is a third dimension, height. Now imagine that someone three-dimensional, like us, puts an object on that sheet. From your two-dimensional perspective, that object will seem like an inexplicable change in your world. This is exactly what could happen to us and the fourth dimension. Our three-dimensional mind can only perceive fragments of a much richer and more complex reality. From the spiritual perspective, dimensions are not understood solely as physical aspects of the universe, but as levels of consciousness. In many spiritual and esoteric traditions, ascending to higher dimensions is said to involve an expansion of the mental, emotional, and energetic state of being. For example, the fourth dimension in spiritual terms is often described as a transitional state where consciousness begins to overcome the perception of linear time and physical limitations, connecting more deeply with the flow of the present and the universal energy field. A key concept in spirituality is that these dimensions are not separate, they coexist and can be experienced simultaneously depending on the individual's level of consciousness. Just as a specific radio frequency tunes into a station, our mental and emotional state determines the dimension we experience. This explains why some people can perceive energies, patterns, and connections that others cannot. To visualize how this integration between science and spirituality works, imagine that you are looking at a painting in a museum. From a three-dimensional perspective, you can only see the colors, shapes, and details on the surface. Now, think of the fourth dimension as if you could step into that picture. Not only would you see it from the outside, but you would experience its depth, the meaning behind its brushstrokes, the feeling of the artist as he created it. Suddenly, the painting ceases to be a static object and becomes a living and dynamic experience. This practical example reflects how additional dimensions can transform the way we perceive reality. Thinking in four dimensions not only broadens our understanding of space and time, but also opens doors to a deeper connection with the universe and ourselves. In essence, multidimensional thinking reminds us that we are more than physical bodies, we are consciousness in constant evolution. In addition, the intersection between science and spirituality invites us to embrace both curiosity and introspection. While science seeks tangible and measurable explanations, spirituality encourages us to explore the intangible, our emotions, intuitions, and connection to something greater than ourselves. Together, both perspectives offer us a more complete view of the world and our place in it. In the next segment, we'll explore how to start thinking in four dimensions and what practical steps you can take to experience this expanded reality. Because, in the end, thinking in more dimensions is not only an intellectual exercise, but an invitation to live with greater fullness and purpose. Ready to take the next step on this fascinating journey? Continue. Thinking in four dimensions is a process that requires a change in our habitual perception and an open-mindedness to experience reality in new and surprising ways. This approach not only challenges our traditional view of space and time, but also invites us to expand our awareness. Below, we'll explore practical steps to train the mind in this multidimensional perspective. Step 1. Visualization exercises. Imagine the interconnectedness of all things. The first step in thinking in four dimensions is to train the mind to perceive connections beyond the visible. A useful exercise is to imagine that everything in the universe is connected by an invisible web of energy. Visualize how every thought, action, and emotion you generate extends into this network, creating ripples that interact with everything around you. Practical exercise. Sit in a quiet place and close your eyes. Imagine that you are surrounded by a luminous network of energetic filaments that connect everything that exists: people, nature, objects. Focus on a positive thought, such as gratitude or love, and visualize how that energy travels through the grid, touching other parts of it. Feel the flow of energy return to you, reinforcing the idea that every action has an impact on the whole. With practice, this exercise will help you develop a more holistic perception of the universe and understand that each element is part of an interconnected system. Step 2. The role of time in the fourth dimension, seeing the past, present, and future as a whole. In our three-dimensional experience, we tend to see time as linear, past, present, and future separated from each other. However, in the fourth dimension, time is not a flow, but a complete panorama where all moments coexist. This idea invites us to reflect on how our present actions are influenced by the past and how they shape the future, all in a single instant. How to practice this perspective? Reflect on a significant moment in your life. Identify the decisions and events that led you to that point. Now, imagine how that moment affects your present and what possibilities it creates for the future. Try to visualize these three moments simultaneously, as if they were layers superimposed on an image. This approach will allow you to understand that time is not a rigid sequence, but a flexible tool that you can use to create your reality. By seeing time in this way, you can free yourself from the weight of the past and anxiety about the future, allowing yourself to live with greater presence. Step 3. Spiritual practices to develop this skill. To train the mind in multidimensional thinking, spiritual practices are essential. Here are 3 key tools. Meditation. Meditation is a gateway to the expansion of consciousness. It allows you to disconnect from external distractions and focus on the present moment, which is critical to experiencing higher dimensions. Practice. Find a quiet spot and sit comfortably. Focus on your breath and allow your mind to quiet. Visualize an infinite space around you, where time does not exist. Allow yourself to simply be in that space. Over time, this practice will help you experience a sense of oneness and connection to what is beyond the physical. Mindful breathing. Mindful breathing is a powerful tool to focus on the present and expand your perception. By connecting deeply with your breath, you can access higher states of mind. Practice. Inhale slowly for 4 seconds, holding the air for another 4 seconds. Then exhale for 6 seconds. As you breathe, imagine that you are inhaling energy from the fourth dimension and exhaling any limitations or blockages. Repeat for several minutes, feeling how you connect to a wider energy field. Mindfulness. Mindfulness allows you to be fully present in every moment, which is essential for experiencing reality in multiple dimensions. Practice. During the day, choose an everyday activity, such as eating or walking. Do it slowly, paying attention to every detail, the colors, textures, tastes, or sounds around you. As you do so, imagine that everything you experience is interconnected and has a larger purpose. This habit will help you integrate multidimensional perception into your daily life. Step 4. Changing your mindset, a leap into the unknown. Thinking in 4 dimensions requires a change in how we interpret the world. Instead of seeing reality as something fixed, he begins to perceive it as fluid and malleable. Every thought and emotion you have not only affects your experience, but also influences the energetic fabric of the universe. Reflection. Imagining that you are part of something much bigger is the first step to expanding your mind. It is not only about understanding with reason, but about feeling and experiencing with your whole being. Thinking in 4 dimensions is an ongoing process of exploration and practice. It requires openness, curiosity, and dedication to train your mind and awareness. By integrating visualization exercises, a fresh perspective on time, and spiritual practices, you can access a way of perceiving the world that transcends the usual limitations. Opening ourselves to the invisible requires a profound change in our perception. In a world where physical sight seems to be the predominant sense, it's easy to ignore that there's a lot more going on around us than our eyes can catch. The invisible not only includes energy fields, intentions, and frequencies, but also the subtle connections that bind us to the universe and to each other. 1. The invisible, energy fields, intentions and frequencies. Everything in the universe is composed of energy. Every person, object, and thought vibrates at a specific frequency, even if we are not always aware of it. These frequencies are part of the energy fields that surround each being and place. Think, for example, of how you can sometimes feel the energy of a room when you walk into it, even if you can't explain it in words. Intentions are also part of this invisible world. Every thought you have and every emotion you feel emits a frequency that impacts your energy field and that of those around you. Therefore, people with high sensitivity or intuition can capture these energies, even without words in between. 2. Train your perception, silence the mind and open the heart. The key to perceiving the invisible lies in two fundamental practices: silencing the mind and opening the heart. Our minds are often so full of thoughts, judgments, and distractions that it blocks our ability to feel what is beyond the tangible. Silencing the mind. Mental noise is one of the biggest obstacles to perceiving the invisible. Meditation is an essential tool for calming that noise and allowing you to connect with deeper levels of perception. Spend a few minutes a day observing your thoughts without judging them and, little by little, you will feel how the mind quiets, allowing you to perceive more subtle signals. Opening the heart. While the mind observes and analyzes, the heart feels and connects. Opening your heart involves allowing yourself to feel without filters or fears. It's recognizing that your emotions and intuition are valuable tools for perceiving what you can't see. The practice of gratitude is a powerful way to activate this connection, as it raises your vibration and tunes you into higher frequencies. 3. Experiment with your intuition. Feel the energy instead of just seeing it. Your intuition is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. To perceive the invisible, it is essential to learn to trust it and your sensations. Practical exercise. Find an everyday object, such as a plant or stone, and hold it in your hands. Close your eyes and focus on how the object's energy feels. Is it warm or cold? Dense or light? Don't try to see anything, just feel. Now, try to do the same with a person. You don't need to touch it, just close your eyes and feel the energy that emanates. Is it quiet, vibrant, restless? By practicing this regularly, you will begin to notice patterns and differences in the energies around you, and your intuition will be fine-tuned to pick up more subtle information. 4. Example, feel instead of seeing. Imagine you're in a conversation with someone. Normally, you'd focus on their words or body language. But this time, try to pay attention to how their presence makes you feel. Do you feel comfortable and at peace, or is something making you uncomfortable? This exercise does not require you to see anything, but to use your intuition to capture the invisible. Over time, this practice will help you read the intentions and energies of people and situations, allowing you to make decisions more aligned with your well-being and purpose. 5. The connection with everything that exists. Seeing the invisible is not just about perceiving energies and frequencies, but about remembering that you are part of a greater whole. When you begin to feel the invisible connections between you and the universe, you understand that your thoughts, emotions, and actions have a profound impact on the world around you. The real magic of seeing the invisible is in how it transforms your relationship with yourself and others. Not only do you become more aware, but also more compassionate, because you understand that we are all part of the same energy field. Thinking in 4 dimensions is not just a fascinating mental exercise, it's a transformative tool that can improve every aspect of your life. By adopting this new perspective, you open yourself up to a deeper level of understanding and connection to the world, allowing you to live with greater purpose, clarity, and authenticity. Below, we explore how this paradigm shift impacts 3 key areas: decision-making, relationships, and your spiritual connection. 1. Improved decision-making. When you start thinking in 4 dimensions, your decisions are no longer limited by a linear vision and expand towards a more holistic perspective. You no longer see options as isolated paths, but as interconnected parts of the bigger picture. How this helps. Anticipation of impact. Thinking in terms of past, present, and future as a whole allows you to foresee the consequences of your decisions. You don't just consider the immediate, but also how it will affect you in the long run. Greater emotional clarity. By training yourself to pick up on invisible energies, you can tune into what really resonates with you, avoiding impulsive decisions or decisions disconnected from your purpose. For example, one person who took this approach recounts how they left a job that generated constant stress because they could feel how that situation would affect their emotional and physical health in the future. By tuning into his intuition, he made the courageous decision to change course, resulting in a more balanced and fulfilling life. 2. More authentic and meaningful relationships. In relationships, thinking in 4 dimensions allows you to go beyond the superficial and connect with the essence of people. By perceiving invisible intentions, energies, and emotions, you can better understand others, creating deeper and more authentic bonds. Key benefits. Empathy and understanding. By opening yourself up to the invisible, you become more aware of the unexpressed emotions and needs of those around you. This encourages compassion and empathy. Conflict release. By perceiving the energy behind words, you can avoid misunderstandings and resolve conflicts from a place of mutual understanding. Attraction of aligned relationships. When your energy is in tune with your highest intentions, you attract people who share your vibration and values. A woman who adopted this way of thinking shared how she transformed her relationship with her partner. By learning to listen to the energy behind words, she was able to approach issues from a more loving perspective, strengthening their bond and avoiding unnecessary disagreements. 3. Deep spiritual connection. Spiritual connection is one of the most transformative aspects of thinking in 4 dimensions. This shift in perspective allows you to feel part of a greater whole and recognize your place in the universe. How this impacts. Life purpose. By connecting with the universal energy flow, you can discover a deeper purpose and live according to it. Sense of peace. Understanding that everything is interconnected and that every experience has a purpose gives you a sense of calm and acceptance in the face of challenges. Access to intuition. This level of thinking amplifies your ability to receive intuitive messages, guides, and signals from the universe. For example, many people who have adopted this perspective share stories of how their connection to the universe has been strengthened. One of them relates that, by learning to meditate and perceive invisible energies, she received clear guidance to make important decisions, such as moving to another city or starting a creative project that ultimately transformed her life. Some testimonies of people who have changed their lives by thinking in 4 dimensions are a reflection of the power of this practice. One entrepreneur found balance. By applying these principles, she learned to delegate tasks and rely on her intuition to make strategic decisions, which not only benefited her business, but also her mental health. One artist unlocked his creativity. By perceiving the invisible connections between his ideas, he was able to create deeper, more meaningful works that resonated with a wider audience. One student overcame anxiety. By visualizing time as a whole, he stopped worrying about the future and found peace in the present moment, which improved his academic performance and overall well-being. The power of a new perspective. Thinking in 4 dimensions not only changes how you see the world, but also how you interact with it. It allows you to make more conscious decisions, build more authentic relationships, and strengthen your spiritual connection. The stories of transformation we've explored are just the beginning of what's possible when you take this approach. Are you ready to experience these benefits in your life? The invitation is open. Start today to explore the invisible dimensions of your being and the universe around you. The invisible is not something external or alien to us, it is an intrinsic part of who we are. Throughout this journey, we have explored how thinking in 4 dimensions allows us to expand our minds, transform our relationships, and strengthen our connection to the universe. But beyond practical exercises or theories, this change of perspective invites us to look inward. By changing the way you think, you change your world. Understanding that everything is connected opens you up to a universe full of possibilities. The invisible dimensions are not a mystery to be solved, but a truth to be lived. When you learn to feel the energies, intentions, and frequencies around you, you discover that you have the power to shape your reality from within. Every thought you have, every emotion you experience, and every intention you project creates ripples in the universal energy field. This means that your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. By aligning your thoughts and emotions with your highest intentions, you begin to live with greater purpose, fulfillment, and peace. So the real invitation is not only to think in 4 dimensions, but to live from them. To recognize that within you are already the necessary tools to see the invisible, to connect with the intangible, and to transform your life from a deeper level. Remember, when you change the way you see the world changes with you. Are you ready to take this step? The universe is waiting for you with open arms. Share your reflections in the comments, tell us what it means to you to think in 4 dimensions. Have you ever experienced something that you can't explain with the traditional senses? We want to hear from your perspective and how this video resonated with you. If you want to delve even deeper into this fascinating topic and access exclusive resources, don't forget to click on the link in the description. We are waiting for you there to continue expanding your consciousness together. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone who has joined our community through membership. Your support is invaluable, and together we will continue to grow and expand our consciousness. Welcome to this transformative experience. If you have been inspired by this video, we invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and activate the notification bell so that you continue to receive more videos like this one. Thank you for being part of our Essential Vibrations community. Remember to share this message with those people you think can help them. See you in the following video.